What's up? What's good? What's going on? Welcome back to another episode of Wando's World. In today's episode, we are doing something truly unique that I haven't done before, and that is building / upgrading my PC. Right now, this is what my PC looks like. And if you know anything about computers, you know that my graphics card is missing. It's right here. However, that one's quite old. So, I went and bought this one. Yes, quite a nice graphics card. But I need a motherboard and a CPU and some more RAM. And since I've never built a computer before, we're gonna build one. I was not planning on recording in my car, but there's a shit ton of traffic ahead. On the Google Maps, all I see is red. If you know, you know, and that rhymed, but I'm not a rapper. Anyways, I do have the parts copped from Micro Center. We're gonna break down exactly what I got once I get home a little further, and then put this shish kebab together. Hopefully it do what it do. All right, we are back home, and I currently am backing up my stuff on a hard drive just in case I gotta re-download some important things that I may need. But I'm about to lay out everything that I got and then break it down. Okay, and here we go. As you already know, 5070 Ti. Got the Z790 motherboard. 16 gigs of RAM. No, it's 32. Hold up. Yeah, 32 gigs of RAM. Thermal paste, of course. And our CPU, not GPU. I'm not that into computers. Forgive me if I say something incorrect. And I guess we'll be back once this is done doing what it do. Put this to the side. Hello there. Future Wando here. Or current, present, past. Who am I? Anyways, I realized that this video could have been a little bit more informative, so I'll be speaking on what I'm doing on each part of the time lapse and breaking it down just a little more, just so you're a little more educated, a little bit. At this point, I'm just disassembling as much as possible. As you can see, took the graphics card out, but what I'm doing here is unscrewing the motherboard from the actual case. It's about 9-10 screws, I don't remember exactly how much, but all I did is use a little screwdriver, Phillips head, to screw everything out and remove the whole motherboard. But before I did that, I did have to disconnect a bunch of the power supplies that are going to the fans in the motherboard. And right here, this is the CPU cooler. Just removing the internal or the input-output fan and cleaning them off a little bit because I don't want any dust on my new CPU or new motherboard for that matter. Just doing a little simple clean out. That's about it. Now, for the CPU cooler, there are 4 screws, or for mine specifically, there's 4 on the outside and 2 tightening ones in the middle. In my case, you just want to make sure that you don't remove the 2 in the middle and only the 4 on the outside.
Still sticky.
That was me cleaning off the old thermal paste, so when I put the new thermal paste on, I won't have any interference. Just want to make sure everything's clean. And this is me putting the CPU in. Now the CPU can go 2 ways, but in this one, newer PCs, they usually only go 1 way, so just want to make sure that you're good with the pins. And this is the thermal paste going on right here. Just want to apply a good amount so that when I do squish down the cooler on it, it spreads out evenly on the CPU, keeping it cool. And those screws that I'm talking about right there, those two on the outside, those are tension screws. So I'm going to screw the 4 on the outside first, and if it's not on your CPU enough, just screw it up a little bit more. Now that is the RAM I just installed. That they do have a color code. It has either on my CPU, on my motherboard specifically, it's gray and black. So you want to put the gray ones in at the same time and the black ones in at the same time. So for instance, 2 grays, 2 blacks. Since I only have 32 gigs, I use the 2 blacks so I can upgrade later and have 64. As you can see, I installed the CPU cooler, basically the input and output fan exactly how it's supposed to go, and we're good. Whoops indeed. This is my SSD. I did forget to transfer it from the old motherboard to the new one, but I did do that. Also, I might have to use one of these screws. This motherboard in specific was not the same as the previous one as far as the mounting points, so I had to reconfigure the mounting points in the case and align them to the new motherboard, basically, and that took me quite fairly quick. But one thing I would change is not install the CPU fan first. I would probably install the motherboard first into the actual case, so that I have more room, because those back screws by the cooler, they were a pain to get to. Anyways, I did learn quite a bit of things when it comes to building my first, or rebuilding my PC, since I didn't really build this one. My dad did build this one, but that's what's actually helping me on the phone and making sure everything's good. So as you can see, I did take off the input fan so I can reach those 2 screws that I was talking about, but it's still a little bit of a pain because the whole cooler was in the way, and I'm not about to take that out and redo thermal paste. No thank you. Anyways, now it's time for the GPU. This one, not gonna lie, I did mess it up. You won't see a while later because it's not in the edit, but what you want to make sure you do is when you put the GPU in, you want to make sure that when it's in the motherboard, it automatically clamps closed by itself. What I did is I put it in there and I was able to put the pin over it to make it seem like it was closed, but in actuality it wasn't. And this is it up and running. I had all the power supply rerouted, put everything in there, but it wasn't reading the graphics card because of what I mentioned earlier. So what I ended up doing is hooking up my monitor to the CPU so I can actually run something, and I figured out that the GPU wasn't reading at all. And that's pretty much how I built a whole new PC. It is now nighttime, but we did manage to successfully configure everything. We got the new motherboard in there with the RAM. Alright, as I said, new motherboard, only 32 gigs of RAM, but upgradable. Same CPU, fan or cooler, whatever. Same fans all around too. Yeah. The magnum opus of the build, the motherfucking 5070 Ti. Nice up in there. Same power supply. That one was good enough. Has about 1000 watts. So we're good. But that is the beauty of PCs. They're upgradable. Unlike consoles, but it is what it is. And I managed to keep all my files and everything. So, Gucci. Yeah. And that's another thing I can add to my belt now. I know how to build a PC. Do you know how to build a PC? Maybe you should learn. Anyways, thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more. Peace out. Hope you enjoyed.